Yeah, so block and a strap you need props wise. I like the way that people bring tea to class. It's a really good idea. It's exactly what it should be like. Okay, I think we're going to start lying down. Let's do that. So have a quick glug of tea and then come and lie down on your backs with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Or another option is you could come into Badaknasana. So soles of the feet together, knees open. But otherwise, knees bent, feet flat on the floor is really grounding. Just start with your arms to the side of your body, palms open. Start to appreciate and notice the connection of your back body to the mat and how good that feels, how solid that feels, how grounding that makes you feel in your body. And then start to deepen your breath so that you are consciously pressing the mid-back ribs into the ground every time you take a big inhale. So you really notice how much press you can get downwards through those back ribs. As you slow your breath down, become conscious of softening the belly as you begin your inhales. So even though you're lying down, when you start your inhale, push just a little bit your low belly out and up. It's quite a hard thing to do when you're lying down, but notice how that creates a kind of vacuum and the diaphragm can move down into it, and then you can fill yourself up a little bit more. As you exhale, the belly comes down. You feel a little kind of pull of the abdominals pressing through as it pushes diaphragm back up into ribs and you push the air out. So there's quite a lot of activity you can have in your breath work if you're really thinking about it. But the main thing I want you to do is just slow everything down. Here's what we're going to be thinking about today. I want you to consider today as you practice how you fill your spaces. This is a really interesting concept. It's really difficult for most of us to be in stillness. Normally when we're in physical stillness, our mind starts racing. So we practice with these deep breaths to slow that down. But this pause element in our lives is quite complex. Sometimes just being is the challenge. To be able to sit with what's present for you right now is really, it's like you have to master that as a kind of way of reacting. And I think there's such a tendency in all our lives to be busy. And I know that we're in lockdown and it's hard to be busy. I think that's what's causing us a lot of stress, actually. How do you fill your days? But just notice your tendency to stuff busyness into your spaces. And what is that actually about? What the hell is that about? From a purely personal perspective, I do that to avoid, to try not to kind of deal with. It's much easier to be busy. So just consider how you find space in the poses we do today. How you can find space in between the poses, in the transitions. And then notice how you personally fill your spaces. And why do you need to fill these spaces? Take a really big breath in and fill your own lung space up. This is okay, this is acceptable. And then open your mouth and really sigh out and empty your space. And just feel how good that is also. Let's do that 2 more times. Just take these really big breaths and these really big sighs out. And on the sighs out, get a sense of bringing a little bit of acceptance into your non-acceptance. A little bit of, I don't know, surrender into your non-surrender. Challenge yourself. Very slowly. Roll your knees to one side, it doesn't matter which, and you're going to press yourself up to seated with your arms, trying not to engage your neck. Amazing, okay. So you're back in seated. Let's start in Badaknasana. So if you're doing Badaknasana, you'll be a pro at this, if you're doing that lying down. Do have a little blanket or pillow or something underneath your bottom, it's quite helpful. It tends to flick the kind of sit bones out behind you. Soles of the feet actively pressing together, toes slightly retracted. Let's do a round of Shivananda with chest opener. Bring your fingertips behind you, press them into the mat and lift your chest. So notice this area in the front of your solar plexus. As you push into your fingers, lift up out of it. Puff your chest forwards. Close your eyes. Let's do Shivananda with eyes closed. Take a really long breath in, softening the low belly. Fill yourself up. You get to the top of your inhale, you're going to hold your breath and soften your shoulders and sit in your space of held breath. Exhale out through the nose. Slow, steady. Press the belly inwards. Let's do that again. Inhale, long and deep. Feel for pressing into side ribs, front and back ribs. Lift the chest. Hold the breath at the top of the inhale. Soften your neck and jaw and just sit with the quiet space. Exhale out through the nose. Last one, inhale really slowly, like you've got all the time in the world. Feel for extending front body, spreading your collarbones apart. Hold the breath. Hold the breath, soften the shoulders, press down through your sit bones, let your hip flexors go. Open your mouth, very gently sigh it out. You can keep your eyes closed if you like. Move your hands forward in front of the shins, or maybe you hold on to your ankles, feet. Take an inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, forward fold. No fancy bits, just a straightforward forward fold. Maybe a little sway side to side. So forward folds are interesting. You really got to kind of, go with the flow a little bit. And they take time to kind of mature, take time to kind of get into. So just notice the stages and don't get frustrated by the time it takes. Take an inhale, lift through the crown of the head, lengthen the back body. So you exhale, soften the belly, hinge forward from the hips. Don't worry about how far you come, it's okay. Wherever you get to is exactly where you're meant to be. Chin dips to chest, soften the jaw. Feel for reaching space into your sacrum, low back. As you exhale, just let upper body soften downwards. Hips, flexors, let them go. Can you take a big breath into the space between your shoulder blades? Do that. And then open your mouth and sigh it out. And then take a long breath in and just come all the way up. Nice. Take hands to outside edge of thighs. Draw your knees together. Take your legs out in front and give them a little shake. We're going to come into shoelace. So shoelace, again, if you're sitting on like a blanket, that's quite nice. Pick up your right foot shin and move them away from your crotch. And then pick up your left shin foot and either stack on top, or if you need a little bit more opening, take the cork block, place it in front of your right knee and put your foot on it there. When you look down, you've got an open upside down triangle. Very importantly for this pose, both your feet need to be flexed and active. So even if it's on the block, it's kind of active, right? And as you do this, I want you to really feel like you push down through your sit bones. I don't really need to tell you what's going on. There's like a external rotation of the thigh bone in the hip socket, and it's, you know, it's pretty intense. Let's do double unlocking the shoulders. Bring your elbows up level with your shoulders. Everything at right angles, palms spread wide facing each other. Take a long breath in. Draw your shoulders back, slide them down the back body. As you exhale, wrap from the underside forward. Push your forearms away from your face and feel for opening up some space in the upper back ribs. Let's do that again. Inhale, shoulders back, down, wrap forwards. Press forearms away, squeeze your elbows towards each other. Feel like your pecs turn on and press some space into upper back ribs. Again, last one. Inhale, draw back, down, wrap. Really feel the underside of armpit muscles engage. Press forearms together and also lengthen them away from the body. And then release down. Roll your shoulders out. Let's do a side bend here. Bring your right hand to side of your hip. Take an inhale, left arm goes up. Extend some length. Already let the head go, right? Already feel for allowing that. Bend the supporting elbow, wrap the top arm and breathe. Do not let your left butt cheek rise up off the floor. You need to plug it downwards. And all of a sudden we're into a sort of outer edge of hip stretch that feels quite intense for a Sunday morning. The thing about when poses feel intense is that finding space gets a little tricky because we tend to grip and we tend to kind of hang on. You get that sense that you're kind of clinging on, waiting for me to cue to get out of it, right? Slow your breath down. It's just that's as simple as it is. Take a long breath that you don't rush and you just sit with the sensation the whole way through the breath. There's no struggle, there's no fight, you're just breathing. And then slowly reach that arm up, draw yourself all the way up, cut the side of your head, lift your own head up. We're going to do a twist to the top left knee. Take an inhale. Turn your whole torso towards the left. Float the arms down, hands to frame the left thigh knee. And then inhale, lift some space up. As you exhale and forward fold, you're going to feel the opposite side of your body. The hip is still getting an opening, but your right flank might start to feel a bit tight, feel a bit constricted. Can you find space in the right side of the body? And it's really interesting because as I'm doing this, I'm pulling. I can feel a pull through the inner edge of my right hip crest. It's like pulling my belly down and I need to open it up. So take an inhale, lift your belly button away from pubic bone. Oh, there it is. As you exhale, soften down. Chin dips to chest, soften the back of the head. And then inhale, come all the way back up. Take your legs out in front of you, give them a shake. There's nothing easy about this stuff, right? This hip stuff. Let's just acknowledge that before we do the other side. Okay, other side, pick up your left foot. I'll get it right. Left foot, move it away from the crotch. Foot is flexed and active. Pick up your right foot, hook it on top. Edges of feet press down and they're fully flexed. If you've got the block in front, that's completely fine. Double unlocking the shoulders, bring your arms up. Take a really big breath in, draw shoulders back, down. Wrap from the underside forwards, press the forearms away from the face and squeeze your elbows, inner edge of elbows together. Again, inhale, draw back, move down. Really feel the downward motion and then the wrapping around armpit. Squeeze elbows together. Feel a muscle, your serratus, kind of ping on around your side ribs. Neck is relaxed. Last one, inhale, draw back, move down, wrap forwards, lift up through the front body, reach away with the forearms, breathe into the middle of your shoulder blades. And release down. Side bend, left hand to side of hip. Inhale, right arm reaches. Plug down through the right butt cheek. Extend. Let the head go. Bring softness into supporting elbow and wrap the top arm. Fingertips are active. Notice if you're slightly curling in on yourself forwards. Take an inhale. Roll your chest open. And then spread your breath into side ribs, feeling the reach into your right side of waistline. Open the mouth side out. And then inhale, draw all the way back. Don't rush it, cup side of head and lift it up. Twist towards the right thigh, inhale. Both arms reach, turn your torso to the right, float the hands down. They frame the knee and thigh. Take an inhale, lift your chest. Plug down through that left bottom cheek as you exhale, see where you get to. Quieten down the stories, the kind of monologue with more breath. Bigger, deeper, wider, slower. If you exaggerate your attention on the breath, it's helpful. As you exhale, release the jaw, soften around the neckline. And then inhale, press yourself all the way back up. Take your legs out in front of you, give them a little shake. And a nice thump into your hips. Come and lie down on your backs. Let's do some abdominals. You'll need nearby for your abs a block. Have that within grabbable distance. And you might need your roll if you like to work with the roll between the thighs at a certain stage. Either or. Okay. Lie down. Let's do a little kind of elbow to knee medley. Start with basic elbow to knee. The good thing about going back to basics sometimes is you can feel the work you're meant to be doing properly. So knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Interlace your hands behind the back of the head. Wrap your elbows. As you do this, listen, we just did unlocking the shoulders. Feel for this lubrication as you wrap your shoulder blades around the sides. I want you to really feel this kind of loosening off, but your neck is soft, your jaw is relaxed. Take an inhale, partially lift head and shoulders. Hold the breath. Press sacrum down to mat, plugging your belly button downwards. As you exhale, pick up your left foot, stack knee above hip, and reach your elbows towards the left thigh. Pull belly down. Inhale, head and shoulders release, foot comes down. Hold the breath, flatten your sacrum, really feel it, pull and flatten to mat. As you exhale, pick up the foot, stack knee, reach elbows to left thigh, pull your belly down. Inhale, come all the way back down, foot to ground. Hold the breath, flatten tailbone, feel it spread downwards. As you exhale, lift your left foot, reach elbows to left thigh, pull belly down. Release, foot back to mat. Let's do the other side. Take a big breath in. Feel the side ribs expand. Hold the breath. Flatten your sacrum, curl pubic bone to belly button. As you exhale, pick up right knee, stack it. Reach elbows to right thigh. Wrap your shoulders up to ceiling, pull belly down. Focus your full attention on the low belly. Inhale, release off, foot down. Hold breath. Curl tailbone, flattening low back. As you exhale, pick the right knee up. Reach elbows directly up to ceiling. Wrap shoulders, pull belly down. Your jaw and neck are not stiff. Inhale, release off, everything down. Hold the breath, flatten low back. Pick up right foot, exhale. Reach elbows to right thigh. Wrap the tips of your elbows upwards. Press down through the low belly. Really feel it, especially to the right side of the iliac psoas. Release, come down. Pick your feet up off the floor, elbows still pointing upwards. Feet are flaunted and active. Take a breath, inhale. Hold the breath, curl tailbone, flattening low back. As you exhale, reach elbows to left thigh. Take the right foot straight up to ceiling. Wrap and reach, lifting left shoulder blade off the floor, pull belly down. Spread the toes on the right foot. Inhale back to center, knees stacked. Hold the breath, curl tailbone, exhale, elbows to right thigh, left foot goes straight up. Pick up the right shoulder blade, gaze upwards so the front of your neck is long, pull belly down. Inhale back to center, full breath. Hold the breath, curl tailbone, exhale, elbows reach to left thigh, right foot goes straight up. Wrap and reach through the tips of elbows, pull belly down. Let's move into Brolga. Take an additional breath here. Release your left hand, grab your left ankle. As you exhale, plug ankle to inner edge of right thigh, traction the thigh up, reach through the right tip of elbow. Inhale, knees bent, everything back to center. Hold breath, curl tailbone, exhale, elbows to right thigh, left leg goes straight up. Spread the toes, reach up through right tip of elbow, belly down. Take an inhale, right hand grabs right ankle, plugs to inner left thigh. As you exhale, traction the left thigh up, pushing foot into thigh, thigh into foot, pull belly down. Inhale, back to center, one more round of those. Hold breath, curl tailbone, exhale, elbows to left thigh, right foot straight up. Wrap and reach, feel for lifting space. I don't know why I'm giggling. Take an additional inhale, left hand releases, grabs left foot, plugs to inner thighs. You exhale, traction up, wrap, press down. Inhale, back to center. Hold the breath, curl tailbone, flatten low back. Exhale, elbows to right thigh, left foot goes straight up. Can you lift your right shoulder blade a little higher? Take an inhale, release right hand, grab right foot, plugs to inner thigh. As you exhale, traction upwards, wrap shoulders, pull belly down. And then release everything off, come back down, lie down on your backs. Put your hands on your low belly. Take the pause. Here's a good fact. When you've done abdominals for however many minutes that was, taking a pause and being still feels fantastic. And it feels fantastic because you feel like you deserve it. And you do. Listen to yourself sometimes. We have these kind of, sums we do in our heads, don't we? About whether we're kind of worthy of having the pause, of taking the space. Just watch yourself, catch yourself out with that. It's not very kind. I think we might do a second set of abs, because that's just the way it's going this Sunday. This is where you're going to grab your roll or your block and place between the inner thighs. Take the legs straight up to ceiling. Let's just do abs with a roll or a block. Flaunt your feet, spread your toes. Do the opposite interlace of your hands, place behind the back of the head. Wrap elbows. Take a really big breath in, lift your head and shoulders up. Hold the breath. Squeeze the prop between the inner thighs, internally rotating knees. As you exhale, curl tailbone, lift your head and shoulders directly up the center line, pull belly down. Inhale, soften up. Hold the breath, squeeze the prop. Curl your tailbone. As you exhale, lift your shoulder blades off the mat. Reach tips of elbows up, pull belly down. Inhale, soften off. How wide can you spread the side ribs? Hold the breath, squeeze prop. Feel for internally rotating muscles onto the prop. As you exhale, reach through the tips of toes, curl tailbone, lift up through the center line. Inhale, come back down. Hold breath, squeeze prop, curl tailbone. Exhale, lift up the center line. Feel for wrapping shoulder blades around sides of armpits. Pull down through the low belly. Inhale, release off. Hold the breath, squeeze the prop, curl tailbone. Exhale, lift up the center line. Soften the front of the neck and the jaw. Got 2 more to go. Inhale, release. Big breaths. Hold the breath, squeeze prop. Feel for spreading the toes. Curl tailbone. Exhale, lift up. Wrapping shoulders, press down through the low belly. If your legs are shaking a bit, it's okay. Inhale, release. Hold the breath, squeeze prop, curl tailbone, reach up. Feel for lightness around the jawline. And then release. Head and shoulders down, feet down, props to the side. It's all kind of done. Let's take a supine twist. Bring your arms into goalpost goddess. Shift your hips gently to the right, lower both knees to the left. Take a breath into the right side ribs and waistline. And as you exhale, really soften the right shoulder blade downwards. Like you're trying to get the right upper back ribs to press towards the floor. So you allow the rotation through the mid-thoracic spine. Flubber out the lips. Gently on your next inhale, bring knees back to center. Shift your hips a little bit to the left, lower both knees to the right. Press a tuck through the tailbone as you reach the left outer edge of thigh away from you. Inhale spaciously into left side ribs, and as you exhale, let the left shoulder upper ribs press towards the mat. Give yourself in your twist, which is by definition, a constriction, a little more openness. Inhale, come back to center with the knees. Bridge pose, have a cork block handy. Let's come up with feet rather, tucked a little closer to the butt. Move the hands to one side. Take an inhale, tuck your tailbone, lift your feet up all the way. Sorry, lift your feet, your hips. Goodness me, I'll get there in the end. Feel for engaging front of thigh muscles, drive them forwards and out of the hips. Reach and extend your sternum up to ceiling as you engage your glutes and tuck under yourself. Let's just play around with this a moment. For a brief moment, can you turn your toes out to the side of the mat so your feet are much more open, like they're, sort of opened out. The reverse of pigeon. Lift your hips and squeeze your glutes. Feel how, in a way, that makes it slightly easier to connect to the glute muscles. Take a breath. Now change it. Walk your toes pigeoned inwards. Oh, this is quite hard. As far as they'll go. And then lift up and notice how much work your inner thighs have got to do. Press down through the soles of the feet. Lift up through the hips. And then move your toes so they point straight out of your hips, lined up, pressing through all four corners, like right in the middle. And you get an even amount of glute and inner thigh activity, and you're lifting your hips. that's quite fun. Okay, let's get the court block. Just playing around with that earlier. Grab your court block, place it underneath your sacrum. Find a level that works for you. Top height, medium height, whatever's good. Rest back down on it. And then feel how good it is to have that space to get the support. Walk your right foot a little more centered. Inhale, left knee to chest. Hit the left leg straight up to ceiling. Spread your toes, reach through the thigh bone. Let's do a hip opener. Place your left foot and hook it on top of right knee. And let your left knee hang down and away from the hip. Open your inhales into the space between your left hip crest and your left low ribs. So extend some space into the sort of left side of waist. Here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to actually take your fingertips now and kind of claw them a little bit and then kind of tuck them into the underside of your ribs so you can feel your diaphragm. And you have to be quite kind of punchy with this, push down. It feels tight, right? You can sort of massage your own diaphragm by pushing your fingers into the underside of your low ribs. And although this seems like a sort of weird thing to do, it's really useful. If your diaphragm is tight, your breaths are not able to be so deep. When I do body work on people, I spend quite a lot of time massaging diaphragms. Haven't been able to do that for a long time. As you do this, I want you to feel like the left knee is weighty and hangs down. Let's see if we can release the left hip flexor by massaging our diaphragm. If nothing else, it took your mind off your left hip. Okay, release. Hands move away from the body. Let your left foot come back down to the mat. Place it in the center of the mat. Inhale, right knee to chest. Take the right leg straight up. Spread the toes. Reach up through the right front of thigh. Notice your neck and jaw a moment. Flubber it out. Soft line. Catch yourself getting busy in your jawline. Right foot hooks on top of left knee. Start to release the right front of hip, outer edge of thigh. Let it all go. Let it hang down. Notice if one side is tighter than the other. Hands come back to your diaphragm massage. Poke your fingertips to the underside of your ribs. Move up and down. There's quite a lot of space there, right? You can go from the right to the low, kind of lowest rib. Move up all the way to your, where the ribs attach into the front of the solar plexus. Ooh, let the right knee open. This is really helping me to not grip around the right hip. Hopefully it's good for you. If you laugh, it doesn't help. Maybe it does. Take a long breath into your right side of waistline and extend space between hip and low ribs. And then release the hands, release the foot, come back down to both feet on the ground. Inhale, lift your hips up. Move the block to one side. Take a breath, squeeze your glutes on, tuck tailbone as you exhale, lower top back, mid back, low back, all the way to the floor. For 2 breaths, breathe into your sacrum, your low back. Just kind of relish the flatness. The pause pose, so important. Gently move to one side with the knees. Press yourself up to seated. Okie dokie, let's do dolphin with the roll between the inner thighs or the block. So grab something to put between the inner thighs and come on to all fours, placing your forearms down on the mat. Grab a handful of top of bicep, pivot on your elbow tips, forearms down, spread the fingers. Take an inhale, dome into upper back. We've worked a little bit with space around that area, feel it now. Curl the toes, straighten the legs. Walk your feet in a little tighter, and as you do this, make sure your head doesn't plunge forward, but rather that your butt goes up and higher. Peek out through your pike position. Shake out the head, yes, no. Push the whole of the forearm into the floor and lift space into your armpits. Just get a feeling of what happens if you actually activate the inner thigh muscles by internally rotating your thighs onto the prop, right? Rather than just pushing your legs together, feel like you roll your thighs inwards onto the block or the prop. Ooh, that's a little easier on the lift. Shake out the head, yes, no. Take 3 more breaths and notice whether you are losing space in the pose because you're getting a little tired. Where can you create more space? Bigger breath, more abs, a little more push through the forearms. Wrap your shoulder blades around the armpits. Space around the jawline. And then very slowly lower knees. Take the roll or the brick from between the inner thighs. Let's do Dolphin Prelude. Walk your knees behind the line of your hips. Take them as wide as the mat. Forearms come a little further forwards. Interlace or prayer your hands. Start to hinge your butt back so it hangs midair just above the heel level, and place your forehead on the mat. Start to feel a pull as you draw your butt back through the underside of armpits, back of triceps. Bend your elbows, place your prayer hands or clasped hands on the base of your skull, and spaciously open the spaces around the side ribs. If you don't feel a stretch in the armpits, just walk your elbows a couple of centimeters further forward and then pull your butt back towards the sort of floating heel area. Take a breath into your upper back ribs, and as you exhale, let your sternum, your chest, your breastbone sink to the mat. Allow in this pose for however you're feeling just to be completely okay, right? Just kind of sit with what really is resonating with you in your body, your emotional state, whatever it is, right? Just kind of every time you sigh out, feel like you just let go of something which is not really serving you very well at the moment. Do one of those, lion's breath, soft line. And then very slowly press yourself back up out of this. Bring your hands slightly forwards of shoulders and bend the elbows. Let's just do turbo dog. So wrap your elbows towards each other. Take an inhale, push into upper back body. Shake out the head. You can stay down in turbo puppy. Maybe that's where you need to be right now, right? Just working the front of the chest muscles. Option to curl toes, straighten the legs. The elbows want to go outwards, but you're going to press them towards each other, feeling for lifting the sit bones and pushing through your active feet. If you would like to go a little further, take a leg lift, put weight into right foot, inhale, left leg raises. You're still in turbo dog. Spread the toes of the left foot, feel for wrapping elbows towards each other. Shake out the head. Exhale, lower the left foot. You can swap sides. Keep pressing elbows together. It's getting intense now. Reach up through that side of foot. This is optional, remember. You're still in turbo dog, whatever you're doing. And then slowly lower the right foot. We were all in turbo dog. Let's straighten the arms. We're all now in down dog. Take a breath. Press your heels as close to the mat as you can, feeling for opening out the backs of the legs. Start to walk feet towards hands, deep forward fold. Soften the knees. Take an inhale, lengthen the belly, drape yourself across your thighs, let your head hang. Let's do a neck traction, interlace hands, place your hands behind the base of the skull and feel like your elbows are weighted and they're pulling downwards and also coming towards the ears. Let the back of the head soften. Take a breath into your sacrum, your low back. Knees can be bent. I'd rather you go for the long back than the long hamstrings at the moment. And then release your hands, soften your knees, come all the way up to standing with a relaxed back and neck. Amazing. Okay, let's do Odiana in horse stance. So it's all connected, right? The diaphragm that gets tight. The diaphragm where we were massaging, we were kind of fondling ourselves here, and the belly. This is all kind of connected in terms of, you know, it needs to be loosened up, right? We need to get a little bit more mobile here so we can get this beautiful rib extension. So plug your hands to top of thighs or mid thigh, lock out the arms. As you do this, you see what happens. You push your thighs down, you lengthen your waistline as you tuck your tailbone. Take a really big breath in. Blow everything out of the mouth. Hold the breath, don't breathe. Scoop belly up and under, vacuum out, tuck tailbone, chin dips to chest. Release the belly, inhale. Blow everything out of the mouth. Hold the breath, don't breathe. Scoop belly up and under, vacuum it out, tuck tailbone, chin dips. Release belly, inhale. Last one, blow everything out. Hold the breath, don't breathe. Suck up and under, lengthen tailbone. Feel for reaching that diaphragm back up into the rib cage. Release the belly, take a breath. Slowly straighten your legs. Heel toe your feet back together. Let's do sun salutations. Come and stand at the front of your mats. Get some additional padding if that's helpful. If you've got music on at home, put it on. Put it on loud. Jolly yourselves up. Stand in Tadasana and begin to breathe into this kind of newfound space you've got around the diaphragm, right? The low rib area. Inhale, reach the arms up, telescope ribs. Exhale, deep forward fold, let the head hang. Lunge, step left leg behind, knee to mat. As you take your breath in, lift up out of the left hip socket. Exhale, plank, hands to mat, step back. Take a breath here, lift the belly, tuck tailbone. As you exhale, knees come down, chest comes down, do it slowly, don't rush it. Low Cobra, bring hands slightly forward of shoulders and inhale, length to front belly. As you exhale, drag your low ribs forwards on the mat. Hands reset, down dog, exhale. Left leg lunges forward, right knee down. Take a breath in, extend upwards through the front of your right hip. Exhale, float to forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's go again, right side. Inhale, lift and extend. Exhale. As you forward fold, let the back of the head soften. Right leg lunges, knee to mat. Take an inhale, extend upwards. Spread your fingers a little more actively. Exhale, hands to mat, step back. Take a breath, push the floor away. Feel for that lifting into armpits. As you exhale, knees lower, chest lowers, graze biceps to ribs. Inhale, low cobra. Squeeze the middle of your shoulder blades together. Exhale, lengthen as you come down, reset, down dog. Right leg lunge, left knee down, inhale, lift space into the waistline. Exhale, float to forward fold. Come up to standing as you inhale, press through your feet and notice the texture of the mat beneath your toes. Exhale, hands to heart center. Again, inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Lunge, left leg steps behind, knee to mat. Take a breath in here, lift up out of the front hip. Let's just pause a moment here, sink a little bit more through the front of the left hip and engage your left glute firmly, pushing top of left foot into mat. Wrap your shoulders and lift up out of the armpit. What does it feel like to just breathe in a low lunge position? There's nothing complex going on, but the more you stay here, the more you feel how much energy you need to press down through your amazing supporting legs, right? Glutes in particular tuck up and under into themselves. The shoulder lines soften. One more breath. And release. Hands come down. Step back into plank. Take a breath. Inhale, lift belly, tuck tailbone. As you exhale, knees lower, chest lowers. Modified Chaturanga. Low Cobra. Inhale, lengthen the front ribs through the arms. Exhale, drag some length, reset, down dog. Left leg lunges forward, right knee down. Take a breath in, inhale. Spread your fingers. Feel for sinking now a little more through the right hip. Squeeze the right glute, push the top of right foot to mat. There's a wrap through the shoulders, get an unlocking of shoulder sensation, and then lift up and you feel a little more spacious around the armpit. Start to press also very actively through the front left foot. Push through the heel and the ball of the foot and feel a kind of connection to your left thigh bone. Release, hands come down, float to forward fold. As you inhale, press up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's go again, right side. Inhale, telescope ribs. Exhale, forward fold, a little softness in the knees. Lunge, right leg back, knee to mat. Take a breath in. Inhale, lift up out of yourself. Spread your fingers. So now bring our arms into goddess. Take a breath. As you exhale, squeeze your shoulder blades together, open the chest, retuck your right sit bone. Get a sense of space across the front of the body and kind of allow that to happen. And just notice how good it feels to kind of liven you up. All these moves where we open the chest have a kind of intuitive knock-on effect of lift us out of ourselves, right? That energy kind of increasing. Release, hands down, step back into plank, take a breath. Scoop belly, tuck tailbone. As you exhale, knees lower, chest lowers all the way down. Low Cobra, inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, down dog. Right leg steps to front of mat, left knee down. Take a breath, inhale, reach up out of yourself. There is a press through left hip. There's a goddess formation with these arms. Draw your elbows back, squeeze shoulder blades together. Lift your gaze forwards, don't look down. What happens when you press your left foot into mat? Can you feel your left glute fire up a little more? And then if you push through the right foot, squeeze through the right thigh, notice the kind of lift you get through the low legs area. Release your hands, float to forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Just pause in Tadasana, mountain pose, and feel the pose of just standing and feeling the ground beneath your feet. Take this space in between suns and vignettes to just check in with yourself. What does your body feel like right now? Which bits still feel a little tight? Which bits feel a little hypo-responsive? Which bits feel a little lost? They're not really with you. As you stand, notice the difference between the back body and the front body in terms of connection. What feels more with you? Do vignettes. Inhale, chair pose, sink your butt low. Squeeze your glutes underneath you as you exhale, deep forward fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, step or hop into plank. Take a breath in plank. Feel for pulling the belly upwards. As you exhale, come through full or modified Chaturanga all the way down, or you come to hover. Inhale, low Cobra or up dog. Exhale, down dog. Step your left foot to front of mat for warrior two, bird wing. So you're in warrior two foot position, front foot straight, back foot 90 degrees. Super glue backs of triceps to ribs, palms up. Let the neck be free. Take an inhale, lift the chest. As you exhale, roll your thumbs outwards, squeeze your inner elbows to ribs. Inhale, come back. Notice how I tend to speed my breath up when I'm doing this, like I want to get it over and done with. Slow it down, especially as you press your thumbs out. Just pause a moment. Just really feel for squeezing arms to ribs. Inhale, come back. Exhale, roll your thumbs out. Squeeze arms to ribs. Pause a moment. Squeeze again. Slide shoulder blades down. And then come all the way back. Roll it out. We're going to do eagle. You might need a strap, so if you need it, grab it now. Take an inhale, reach the left arm straight up to ceiling. Place your left hand in the center of your shoulder blades. Take your right arm behind you for a half bind. Grab fingers, make a connection between your strap or you're holding onto your top. Take a breath that feels nourishing rather than one that just feels like you're kind of scrabbling around. So whether you feel it or not in your physical body, slow your breath down to calm yourself into the pose. So that actually what you discover is that there is a little more space than you thought maybe. A little more space to breathe between those shoulder blades. A little more support from the low body, the legs, the glutes. And then your diaphragm. Think about how loose it is now because we've warmed it up. Take an inhale, feel the low ribs expand. And as you exhale, open the mouth side up. Amazing, come out of this. Slight foot reset for twisting lunge. So left foot maybe is already at the edge of the mat. Come and hop onto the ball of the right foot so you're in a high lunge position. Inhale, right arm reaches up to ceiling. Twist and float your right elbow on top of your left thigh. When you get there, inhale, lengthen the underside ribs, and then float your left arm up and clasp it on top of right fisted hand at the head go. You need a wide railway track position or you're going to wobble. So if your left foot needs to be probably pretty much to edge of left side of mat, right foot to the right side of mat, inhale some length. As you exhale, roll your chest open, feel like you flare your left shoulder towards the ceiling. Let the head go, no drishti, no hardness in the neck. A little bit of a challenge to balance. Squeeze your glutes on, that helps. And then release, come out of this. Hands to mat, step back into plank, take a breath. Scoop the belly, tuck tailbone as you exhale, knees lower, or you come through full Chaturanga, yogi's choice. Inhale, low cobra or up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right foot, warrior two, bird wing. Take the right foot forwards, it's straight. Back foot 90 degrees. If you drew a line from your right heel, it would intersect the arch of your left foot. The inner thigh is really active, right? Watch for this knee, the front knee drifting inwards. Press it outwards. So if you fondle your own inner thigh, it feels like really kind of turned on, right? It's there with you. Bird wing, super glue arms to sides of ribs, palms up. Take a breath. As you exhale, roll your thumbs outwards, squeeze sort of arms towards the armpit, and pause, and then inhale, come back. So slow this down a little bit. Exhale, roll it out, roll it out. The last little bit, squeeze again, slide shoulder blades downwards, don't hike up. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze it on, wrap it out. Neck stays fluid. Release, roll. Archer, inhale, right arm reaches. Reach a little longer, spread breath into side ribs, float hand to center of shoulder blades. Take a left arm, half bind. Grab your strap to make up the distance. Fingers might interlace. You grab your clothing. Breathe softly into the space between your shoulder blades. And then notice letting go again through the diaphragm and taking a breath that expands the low rib cage. It's really cool if you do this. If you do this inhale, which lifts the sternum away from the belly button. But don't shrug your shoulders up. Keep the shoulders soft. One more breath. Deepen your right knee bend. Release, come out of this. Little foot reset, walk the right foot to edge of mat. Hop onto the ball of the left foot and have that to the left side of mat. Hips are squared, you're in a high lunge. Take an inhale and lift your left arm up, make a fist. Twist to the right, hook your left elbow on top of right thigh and take a breath. Elongate yourself. Turn again, reach the right arm up and then float it to clasp on top of left fist. Let the head go. How can you keep your balance in this twisting lunge? You need to engage your core. Feel like you pull your belly button to the back spine. And then as you exhale and twist, keep a steady connection to your glute muscles. Occurs to me, I haven't done twisting high lunge like this for ages. Normally do it in warrior one, right? Breathe again, one more breath. Come out of this slowly. Hands to mat, step back into down dog. Take a huge breath in down dog, lift your sit bones and feel for pedaling out the feet. Backs of the legs already getting more warmed up. Turbo dog is an option. Bend your elbows. Hover them above the floor, but press them towards each other like you're grabbing a big beach ball. And breathe into the space between your shoulder blades. Remember that space? One more breath. Straighten your arms and step your left foot to front of mat. For warrior two again, we're coming into extended warrior variation. Left foot straight, right foot 90 degrees. Float your left elbow onto left thigh. So just before we do anything else, notice that there are two, if your shoulder is shrugged up to your ear when you do this, push away. So press the elbow into the thigh and scoop into the left armpit. Everyone just for a moment, put your right hand on your hip and move your left arm forwards like you're not using it, right? But you've still got the structure. Then place your left elbow back on the thigh. You can now lean into it a bit, but it's more a push away. Let the head go. Take a half bind. Right arm slides behind you. Grab the waistband of your leggings or shorts, or move your hand into the nook of your hip. Let the head go again. Take that breath into the front of your ribs, diaphragm area, and feel for extension. Let you lean out of yourself. And then as you exhale, actually do feel like you lean back into the pose. Slightly weight the back of your head almost behind you. There is a softness which you are seeking in your right shoulder. As you inhale, lift the head of the right shoulder up and then slide it behind you so that the shoulder blade, the right shoulder blade, moves towards the middle of the back. Press actively through the outside edge of your right foot and feel a stretch from right little toe to right hip. Very gently come out of this. Put your right hand, in fact, let's keep the bind a minute. Let's do this. Keep the bind and walk very slowly, heel toe your right foot in. I'd like you to grab a block in your left hand. You've still got the bind. Let's come into half moon with the bind, right? We're just going to play around with this. So put the block to the outside edge of your left foot with your hand on it. And then slowly with control, it's really tough. You've got to reach up through that right leg. Let the head go and feel for being in half moon with a bind. You need a little bit more control. I want you to squeeze through the standing leg, engage the outside edge of right thigh, kung fu kick right leg away, let the head go. It's hard, right? The balance is a little more tricky. Now, release your bind and float your right arm up. Feel for reaching fingertips to ceiling and notice how helpful that is. Give yourself 2 more breaths. Push again through the left standing leg. Feel for reaching space into the front of your chest as you lift your right hand upwards. No neck, no jaw. Right hand back onto hip. Float your right foot back and land it. We're going to do something I've not really done. I did this pose the other day. It was really cool. We're going to be in pyramid. Front foot straight, back foot slightly turned out, hips facing short end of mat. Just watch a moment before you come down. We're going to do a forward fold in pyramid legs with a twist. So we normally come back down with a flat back. It's all about the hamstring, right? This is just, we're going to hang down like a rag doll across the left leg and then slightly twist towards the left and maybe get your fingertips on the outside edge of your left foot. So rather than focus on a flat back, all of that, just let the torso hang. Feel like you're doing a forward fold across the left shin. You get into the mix, a little bit of an IT band stretch, but I really just want you to kind of hang out here and feel for space in your breathing. Let the head hang, feel for draping yourself downwards, letting all the muscles soften around the upper back. Put a micro bend in left knee, feel for pressing actively through the feet. Breathe into the outside edge of your left hip. It might need it. Shake out the head, yes, no. Come out of this really slowly, hands to mat, step back into plank, take a breath. Scoop the belly up, tuck tailbone as you exhale, knees lower, chest lowers all the way down. Let's do boat pose with shoulder shrugs. Take your arms to the side of you in goddess formation, so they're like a little goalpost. Pick up individually each leg and feel like it gets lifted and lengthened down the mat, so you feel a long front of thigh. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Take an inhale, curl pubic bone to belly button. Lift feet, lift chest, lift your arms and hands up off the floor. Look at the mat. Take an inhale again. Balloon into upper back ribs. As you exhale, squeeze the middle points of shoulder blades together, elbows draw towards each other. Inhale again, hands move slightly forwards. Feet are long and active. As you exhale, squeeze shoulder blades together. Draw elbows back towards each other. Keep your gaze downwards. Last one, big breath in. Open the chest. Exhale, squeeze shoulder blades together. Lengthen toes away. And release. Put one hand on top of the other underneath your forehead and lie on your tummy and pause. Notice the heat and the energy that Shrugs gave to you through the upper back body. And then just notice your breath and soften it where you can kind of find a little bit of tightness still around the front and back ribs. Press particularly through those shoulder blades again. Feel for, maybe it feels different now. I feel like I'm a little bit more open to the breath there. Hands under shoulders, curl toes, down dog. Step your right foot to front of mat for extended warrior variation. You're in warrior 2 legs. Float your right elbow onto right thigh. Pause a moment, right? Put your hand on your hip. Notice your tone through your body. Zip it up, knit the abs in, and then lift your arm and just feel for what's required to keep the power, right? Elbow comes back down, push into it, take a half bind. Let the head go. Rather than feel like you're slightly curling in on yourself, take an inhale and extend length into the front of the body and feel like you lean back into your pose. I find this pose, I love this pose. For me, this pose feels like acceptance. It's like the embodiment of acceptance. You accept that you're exactly where you're meant to be, right? You don't need to come to this pose with anything in particular. You just need to breathe into the front body and lean back and let it have you. You don't need to be really good at it. You don't need to be an expert or a pro. You just need to do it. You just need to find the breath. Let the head go. One more breath. Feel for that reach through the outside edge of little toe all the way to hip. And then come out of this gently. Completely forgotten what we did next. I was so in the zone. Oh yeah, I remember. Half moon with a bind, right? So you're in extended warrior, walk your foot in. Grab with your right hand a block. Place the block forwards of the right foot and slightly to the side, right? And then see if you can keep this control. Press through your right thigh. Can you lift your left leg up? All slowed down, no rushing, no busyness. No filling spaces with extra energy. Let the head go. Roll your hips to stack. Press through the heel of your left foot like a kung fu kick. It's that energized. It's just the balance. It's a pig, right? Draw the belly in towards the back spine and squeeze your glutes on. Both of them. Now extend the left arm up and feel the difference. Feel the space, feel the reach, feel the a little bit more control in the pose. Let the head go again. And then slowly, hand on hip, float the left foot back. Set yourself up for pyramid legs. Front foot straight, back foot slightly turned out. Hips square to short edge of mat. Take an inhale. Walk your hands down your right thigh, leg, shin, all the way down. There's no efforting here. It's just a hanging, raggy dolly thing. Shake out the head. And then if you got low enough, you might not have, you might get your fingertips to twist towards the right. So they're sort of on the outside edge of your right foot. And breathe into your left armpit. Put a micro bend in the right knee if the hamstring is tight. Soften the belly, let the jaw relax. Let the shoulder blades feel like they just slide down the back body towards the floor. You need to hold on. You need to do the opposite. Squeeze your right glute on. Just feel that because the IT band is right there giving you some kind of feedback. It's okay. Come out of this slowly. Step back into down dog. Take a breath. And then slowly lower your knees and just have a look where we're going next. We're going to do twisting chair on the wall. If you don't have a wall, doesn't matter. If you've got a little bit of wall space, you might come up to it in a minute, but just let me show you what it's going to look like. And this will be the same whether you've got a wall or not. Your feet are about hip distance apart. Imagine where my hand is, that's where the wall is. It's about 4 arms distance away from my hip, right? Here's the wall. You'll come into a squat, a chair, which looks like this, right, from side on. And then you're going to put hands to prayer and you're going to twist, do a twisting chair, hooking the elbow onto the thigh. The wall is there, and at this point you'll open your arms out. This elbow braces on the knee, pushes onto the wall, fingers forwards. Top arm, fingers forwards, let the head go, and then push with the top arm to rotate the chest open. If you don't have a wall, you're doing twisting chair on your mat. Option to butterfly arms open. Okay, let's do it. Come up to your wall with your left hip 4 arms distance away from the wall. Feet hip distance apart. Inhale, come into chair pose. You're doing this on the mat, even if you don't have a wall. Hands come to prayer. Take an inhale, twist your whole torso to the left, hooking right elbow on top of left thigh. At this point, you might need to get closer or further away from the wall. Release your right hand and place it on the wall, bracing right elbow to left knee. And then take your left hand further up, pushing on the wall as well. Let the head go. As you inhale, push into the top hand and rotate your chest open. Butt is low, squeeze your glutes on. Notice your knees shearing apart, level them out. Keep lifting your chest and pressing through the top left hand to open yourself up. No neck. And then come out of this really slowly. Ooh, that gets the old bottom working. Okay, turn around. Let's do the other side. If you're doing this on your mat, you don't need to turn around. Be 4 arms distance away from the wall with the right hip. Inhale, chair. Squeeze your glutes on already. Hands to prayer. Take an inhale. Twist to the right. Hook your left elbow on top of right knee. Place your right hand on the wall and brace it against the outside edge of your right knee. Right hand comes above you, fingers facing forwards, and then turn yourself towards the wall. You want to get your chest level with it. Let the head go. If you're freestanding in the middle of your mat, you can just breathe into your ribs and maybe flower open the arms. Squeeze your glutes on. Shake out the head, yes, no. And then slowly come out of this all the way. Ooh, step back into down dog. That's quite a lot. Last vignette, step your left foot to front of mat for warrior 2. We're all about warrior 2 today. Let's do Kasawari. So you'll need to come back into archer arms. Have your strap, especially if you're it's like your fingers might touch, but they're really kind of at the edge. You need a little bit more space between the hands for this. Take your left arm up, place it to center of shoulder blades. Right arm behind, use the strap to make the distance up. Take an inhale, deepen your left knee bend, lift your chest. As you exhale, forward fold, straight down the center line of your warrior 2 legs. Your archer arms stay together. as in they stay in archer. When you hang down, you might realize you can separate your hands a little more because you've got the strap, and that's a good thing because you need the space. You need the space because you need to now breathe and let the shoulders soften downwards with gravity. Feel for letting the tip of the left elbow drag down, but also the right shoulder blade. I mean, it's just hanging now, right? It is allowed to come towards the ear. Take a breath into upper back body. Release, come out of this. Head to ankle prep. Hang both hands down the center line of your warrior two legs. Pick up your left hand, grab a handful of left thigh, traction it open and away. Lock out your left arm straight. This forces you to twist, bend towards the right. That's okay. Put your right hand in front of your right foot on the mat or on a block and press into that as you push your left thigh away from you. I'd like you to breathe into the arc of your left side ribs, from left hip to left armpit in a big C shape. If your inner right thigh muscle is tight, bend your right knee slightly. Let the head hang. Here's the work you're doing. You are tractioning your left thigh forwards and away. So the heel of your left hand pushes the fleshy part of the left thigh forwards. Breathe into that. Space around the hip socket, find it. And then come out of this really slowly. Let's do pigeon, sternum to ankle. Bring your right foot down, right knee down. Grab a hold of your left foot and place it to the right edge of the mat. And then come and sit down with your left bottom cheek flat to the mat. So you feel a bit lopsided, like you're falling backwards. Straighten your left shin so it's parallel to the top edge of the mat. Back leg is out. It can also be in, whatever works for your hips. Both hands grab the top of the left foot. Rather than do this, which feels tempting, pull on your left foot and puff your chest forwards and up. It's like you roll onto the inner edge of your sit bone and lengthen your back. As you exhale, sternum, chest center to ankle. That's the direction. You don't have to get them there. It's not possible, I don't think. Maybe it is for some people. You might get your left elbow to the mat. That feels good. Soften your breath into the hip, which can be very vocal. If you are more open, inhale, take the left tip of elbow and place it into the arch of your left foot. And you come into a twisting pigeon. Let the head go. So pigeons are interesting poses, all the variations of them. There is a subconscious gripping which we do in the hip flexors without even realizing it. Take the next 2 breaths to allow your front of left hip, outside edge of it, to stop holding. You've got to do this. You've got to say it to yourself and make it happen. Because you will be holding. Trust that not everything's going to kind of go to pieces if you do that. Slow your breath down, stop gripping. And then really slowly come out of this. Unravel yourself, literally. Tuck your left heel towards the groin, hands on the mat, step back into down dog. Pedal out the feet. So yawn the hip out. This feels really nice. Take an inhale, take the left leg straight up to ceiling, bend the left knee, hang the foot near the right buttock. As you lift your left thigh upwards, feel an opening through the front of the left hip. Feel a space that's available in the front of the left hip. And then float that left leg down. Step your right foot to front of mat for Warrior Two, Cassowary. So Warrior Two, foot position, right foot straight, back foot 90 degrees. Inhale, right arm reaches, come into Archer. Use a strap if you are right on the edge of fingers touching. Take that lengthy breath. Remember that solar plexus. Don't curl in on yourself. Take the long route. And then fold forwards with that length. There's so much more space then. Hang down the center line. Hands are intact or they're holding onto the strap. Arch your arms. Oh, they're just kind of letting themselves go where they go. See what happens. Press through the right thigh, knee, and feel for squeezing your sit bones together. Press actively through outside edge of left foot. Take a big breath in and sigh it out from the mouth. Really feel that sigh out. Oh, do that. That's good. Release hands, hang them down. Head to ankle prep. Right hand grabs right inner thigh, and then you lock out the right arm, which pushes the thigh forwards and away. Bend yourself in a side bend to the left. Put your left hand on the mat or on a block in front of your left foot and let the head go. Take a big breath. I want you to really notice this arcing space into right side ribs. So it's like you lift the low ribs away from the hip. And then press your heel of hand into the right thigh and push it forwards and away. Shake out the head. Take this last breath right into the hip socket. Imagine the space that's available there. Come out of this. Pigeon, sternum to ankle, left knee lowers down. Pick up your right foot, place it to the edge of the mat. Come onto your right bottom cheek. Make sure your shin is at a right angle parallel to top of mat. Grab top of foot, take an inhale, lift. Roll onto, it's like you roll onto the right sit bone slightly. Forward fold, sternum to ankle. Soften the back of the head. If you feel a little more open, right elbow hooks into the top of your foot, twisting out. Start to focus your slow breaths on the front of the right hip and allow the hip flexors to stop holding. And you have to kind of keep repeating it to yourself because it's a really hard one. Stop holding your hip flexors. Every exhale, just kind of let it out. Come out of this slowly. Step back into down dog. Take a pedal out of the feet and then let's yawn the right hip. Inhale, right leg raises, spread the toes. Bend the knee, hang the foot. Reach up through the inner thigh, let the head go. Space in the front of the hip. Release. Come down to knees. Before we come into the final resting pose, let's just check in with what we got out of that, right? You may not want to do this, but it's an interesting thing to do, and it's good. Let's come back into shoelace. Pick up your right foot, move it away from the crotch. Pick up your left foot and hook it on top of the knee, stacking. If you need the blocks, completely fine, right? But notice, after the work we've done through the hips, that maybe there's a little more, even if it's doesn't feel that different, just notice that you maybe handle it differently in your spacious head now, right? Sit bones pressing down, maybe pull the butt cheeks out behind you. Whether you've got the block there or not, just have your arms by the side of the body, just take a breath in. Lift some space right here. And soften the shoulders. Let's come into a forward fold. Walk your fingertips in front of your hips, maybe in front of your legs. Inhale, length. As you exhale, forward fold, maybe with a slight side to side motion. I find this quite helpful. It's almost like I'm distracting myself from the forward fold and also just ratcheting through the hips. Close your eyes and just breathe. Reconnect to those slow, deep breaths. Have that as your only focus. So that the sensations in the hips are just, just like a little bit of background noise, nothing too kind of loud. Notice your immediate reaction of grip and with resistance, and then just think, oh, okay, I don't need to do that. I'm going to react differently. Just going to focus on the breath. And just see what you get to. Press yourself all the way up. Swap your legs to the other side, maybe having a little intermediate shakeout. Bring your left foot in front of your crotch, right foot stacks on top. If you need a block, have it. Remember, the feet are flexed and relatively active. There's a big space when you look down. Just take a breath with your arms by the side of the body without any kind of grip. Press the edges of the feet wherever they are downwards. Get a connection. Fingertips walk forwards. Inhale some length. Exhale, a little rocky rock. So in terms of peak poses, doing a forward fold in shoelace is a pretty big peak pose. Because you know what? There's nothing fancy going on. It doesn't look like a sort of arm balance or anything, but there's so much going on inside. It's like a full orchestral movement, right? That's why I always say to everyone, it's not what the pose looks like, it's what it feels like. What is the pose teaching you? What is it giving to you? Let the jaw go, side out. And then inhale, come all the way back up. What might feel nice now is just to do a straddle and shake out the legs. Maybe even a forward fold and straddle. It's going to feel completely different. Pressing backs of the legs to the mat, just kind of lie down. That for some reason now feels like easy peasy. And then there's this like humming you get, this humming of energy around the outside edge of hips. I get that now, where they're like, woo, feel alive. Come out of this. Shavasana, we made it. I hope you've got time for 5 minutes of Shavasana in your Sunday. I know I've run over slightly, but if you've got the time, let's just take it. Lie down, get super comfy. Legs up the wall, an option. Get a bolster. Have you got an eye pillow? That's really nice. The sun is peeking out. That's pretty good. When you come to lying down, do yourself a huge favor and shuffle your shoulder blades down away from the top of the neck. Maybe retucking tailbone. Feel this connection, just as we started lying down on the mat, to the back body. Sense of weightiness, grounding, but also the breath, right? The breath moving into spaces in the back ribs. And come into Shavasana. Start to slowly deepen your breaths. As you deepen your breaths, feel for pressing the mid back ribs into the mat. Bring some gentle movement into fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. And then reach your arms up above you, point your feet, legs away from you, and feel for inhaling a long breath that feels really spacious. And as you exhale, draw your knees to your chest and hug them in. Little roll side to side. And then gently extend your left arm up above you and roll onto your left side and pause. Don't rush to get up if you've got time, and just close your eyes and keep breathing long, slow, deep breaths. Sometimes the greatest miracle is being able to face exactly where you're at and say, this is where I am. No running, no hiding. There is gold for me here, and I intend to find it. Very gently press yourself up to seated. Bring your hands into prayer at the center of your chest. Just feel for a moment the connection of your thumbs gently resting in the center of your chest. Take a breath into that spot. That which is sacred in me honors and salutes that which is sacred in you. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. Lovely to see you all. And I can definitely say that where I am, the sun has come out, so that was good. Sometimes the sun salutations do what they're meant to do.